Hi, I'm Stephen with AlbertaUrbanGarden.ca. Welcome to the Boreal Forest. So in today's episode, I'm going to transplant some wild blueberries that we found last year and see if we can't grow them in the garden. And I'll take you along for the tour. We did some wild strawberries last year and they're currently at home flowering and hopefully they'll produce some flowers. There's wild raspberries out here, there's all sorts of great things. And if you don't have a garden, and you have access to some wild spaces, you can actually find a lot of very good things like blueberries. This entire patch, last time I was here, I ate my entire lunch out of it. It was absolutely delicious. So you'll need a couple of tools. The first, some pots. I've just used these from previous plants. A sod cutter works really well for this. Just a regular garden spade and some water. So why don't you come on in closer, and I'll show you what a wild blueberry bush looks like and how we're going to actually transplant that. So this is a wild blueberry and it looks like this one's been pollinated. What we want to do is we want to find a cluster that is no wider than kind of the pot, which this cluster is. So what we're going to do is take this and cut our way around to try to maintain as much of the natural soil as possible, so that we can get it home. You can also do this with bags and stuff, but the pots were easy enough and available. You can use either the shovel or the spade or the sod cutter, and we just want to maintain as much of the root ball as possible. Oops. Just pull that out. Then what we're going to do is plop that in the container. So we'll just fit it in here nicely. And we'll transplant this when we get home. In order to get there, we're just going to give it some nice water just to keep it moist. And you want to do this when it doesn't have as much substrate. You want to keep it nice and moist fairly often. So it's been a couple of days because it's just been pouring rain since we collected these wild blueberries. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pot them up. I'm not going to drop them in the ground in my garden yet. I'm just going to put them in containers because I need to be able to move them. They were on kind of a northwest facing slope where we found them, which means they got a little more shade. So what we're going to do is we're going to harden them off and slowly acclimate them. So this is peat moss. And we're choosing to pot in complete peat moss because peat moss is exactly what they were growing on in the wild. The acidity is good for them. That's what they really like. So we're going to put them in a home that they're going to feel comfortable in. So why don't you come on in closer and show you, and I'll show you how we're going to transplant these. So this blueberry right here actually has some fruit on it already, which is awesome. Hopefully we don't lose it. So we're just going to slowly work that out. So you can see there's the organic peat that it was growing on and a clay base. This actually came off the clay base fairly easily. Doesn't require a ton of organic material, but what we're going to do is we're going to try to make it nice and happy and comfortable. And we're just going to fill in around the edges with peat. And water it in. So we've placed them here where they'll get a little bit of direct sun and a little bit of shade, much like their original climate. And hopefully, with these beautiful flowers on them, we'll be able to taste the difference between wild blueberries and our highland varieties we planted a couple of weeks ago. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate you spending time with me. I hope you have a great day.